which is factoring. It's absolutely imperative that you learn how to factor and you learn how to factor well. This week I will start coming around and checking your notes. You do get points for just copying down what I write down. Easiest points on earth. It's 10% of your grade. So keep that in mind. Just doing what I expect you to do earns you 3 points. Okay. So factoring is the most important thing. We're going to do this for the entire rest of the semester. It is imperative that you learn how to do it well. And in terms of I hope you've seen this before. I hope this is review for you. But it might not be for some of you. So hopefully you'll remember what we're doing here, but maybe not. The important thing is it comes from what we already know how to do. What did FOIL stand for? First, outside, inside, and then last, okay? And so when we have two bubbles, I lovingly call these little bubble sets. I love to say double bubble, okay? When we have a double bubble situation here, we can FOIL them to work them out. And so we do first times first, and we get x times x is x squared. And then we would do the outside, which is the outer pairs, the outer two terms, which would be x times -4. And x times -4 is -4x. And then the I stands for the inside two, we would multiply together. So that'd be 5 times x. And what is 5 times x? 5x. And then last times last are the last two terms in our bubbles there. And last times last is 5 times -4, which is -20. And then, I'm not going to say every single time, but nearly every time, the O and the I can combine because they're like terms. And we combine those, and that gives us 1x, right? -4 and a positive 5 is 1x. So we can combine those terms to get x squared plus 1x minus 20. Today, we are starting from this point. We're given a trinomial, and we want to unmultiply it. We're going back to bubbles. So I lovingly call factoring double bubble. So you'll hear me say that, and I like saying double bubble because it gives you a structure to fill it, all right? And so that structure is actually really, really easy. This first term comes from first times first in those bubbles, always. And then this last term comes from the last times the last in those bubbles every single time. And if you do that, then you're almost done. The last thing that you need to do is figure out, did you get this middle term right? And the middle term comes from right here, the outside and the inside combined. So I like to say first times first is the first thing, last times last is the last thing, and here you want to check the rainbow for the middle term. All right, and that's what we're doing. We're checking the rainbow to see that we get that middle term. It's really, really easy. And we're going to do this every single time. The key to factoring is this checking the rainbow part. Okay, so let's try. Here we go. Example 1, factor the trinomial. Example 1, factor the trinomial. And again, factor means double bubble. Okay, that's what they mean. Or unmultiply, unfoil, if you will. but I like to say double bubble. Factor the trinomial, double bubble. This is a trinomial. What does trinomial mean? Tri means 3. Try 3 terms. So we have 3 terms, 1, 2, 3 terms. And what would you call this form that they're in? Like their order. What would you call their order? How do you recognize it? This is the generic notation that we use. X squared, and then x to the first, and then this C stands for the constant. It's just a plain old number that doesn't have an X on it or another letter. We would call this usually a standard form or a general form. I think our book calls it general form. And I like to think like general, like marching, like all your ducks are in a row. Like, I don't know why I think that, but I do. All the little ducks are in a row. It's like when my kids follow me around the house. The tallest, middle kid, shortest kid. Okay. It's by power. I know, it's weird. The things that I think about, I don't know. This order is important. So today, we don't have to worry about the order because they are all in this sort of general form. But we could rearrange if we needed to. Right? Here, we are going to start always by setting up our structure. So set up your double bubble. And what we understand from foiling is that the first times the first is going to give us the first term. First times first is going to give us the first term. What times what is x squared? Yeah, x times x gives you x squared all day and night. Then the last term times the last gives you the last term of your trinomial. Last times last gives you negative 24. So we want to know what times what gives us negative 24. What are the factors of negative 24? What times what is 24? Okay, what times what is negative 24? Negative 6 times positive 4. We can reverse that. Can we say negative 4 times positive 6? Okay, what else gives us negative 24? Negative 8 times 3 or negative 3 times 8. We've got lots of options here, right? What else? Negative 12 and 2 or negative 2 times positive 12 and negative 24 times positive 1 and vice versa, okay? We have created a ginormous factor list, okay? I hope you can do this in your head, but boy, if you don't know your multiplication facts, you can imagine how hard this will be, right? Okay, so now the question is, which one do you want to try? Negative 6 and 4. Let's try it. Negative 6 and 4. So I'm going to plug in a negative 6 and a positive 4. I know it's going to work by checking the rainbow. So the last step, I'm going to check the rainbow. Meaning we're going to multiply to double check. X times 4 is 4x. Negative 6 times x is negative 6x. And when you combine those, negative 6x and the 4x, what do you get? What is negative 6x and 4? Negative 2x. The negatives win. There's more negatives. So negative 2x, and that is where the middle term comes from. Combining the outside and the inside is where that middle term comes from. Okay? Check the rainbow is key, ladies and gentlemen. This is the answer. Those bubbles. That's what we're looking for. Check the rainbow is the shortcut. If you wanted to check this answer in its entirety, what could you do? How would you know you did this right? Multiply it all out. Yeah, just multiply it together and make sure you get where you started. All right, Down here we have x squared plus 7x minus 18. We are going to double bubble, so set up your structure. First times first always gives you the first thing. What times what gives you x squared? X times x. All day and night. Last times last gives you the last term. What times what gives you negative 18? 9 times negative 2 or negative 9 times positive 2. Very good. What other options do we have? Negative 6 and a positive 3 or a negative 3 and a positive 6. Negative 18 and a positive 1. Thank you for humoring me with my numbers here. We have a giant list. Which one do you want to try? I heard negative 6 times 3. Let's try it. Let's see what happens when we try this one. If I plug in a negative 6 and a positive 3, I need to check the rainbow. So I'm going to check the rainbow. I'm going to multiply. X times 3 is 3x. Negative 6 times x is negative 6x. What happens when we combine negative 6x and 3x? We get negative 3x. Is that what we wanted? No, it is not. That one didn't work. Which one should we try now? 9 and negative 2. All right, let's try 9 and negative 2. It is a guess and check method, but hopefully you're really good at multiplying, and this won't be quite so hard. Positive 9 and negative 2. So I'm going to double check the rainbow here. X times negative 2 is negative 2x. 9 times x is 9x. 9x and a negative 2x is positive 7x. Now we know we did it right. And again, you could FOIL everything together if you really wanted to make sure, but checking the rainbow is probably sufficient. Okay. X squared minus 15x plus 36, double bubble. First times first has to be the first thing. What times what is x squared? X times x is x squared, always. Last times last has to be positive 36. What times what is positive 36? Positive 6 times positive 6, also negative 6 times negative 6. What else we got? 12 times 3. 12 times 3, negative 12 times negative 3. $18 and 2. All right, 18 times 2, negative 18 and negative 2. 36 and 1. 9 and 4. 9 times 4, negative 9 times negative 4. And 36 and 1. All right. That's a big list. Do you want to step outside a minute? You're good? Okay. I hate when you swallow wrong, right? Okay. Which pair of factors do you want to try? 12 and 3. Should we try 12 and 3 or negative 12 and negative 3? Negative 12 and negative 3. Let's use negative 12 times negative 3. And we're going to check the rainbow. I check the rainbow. X times negative 3 is negative 3x. Negative 12 times x is negative 12x. And when I combine my negative 12 and my negative 3, that's going to give me 15 negatives. All right, so that is correct. Try this next one here. Double bubble. First times first has to be the first thing. What times what is x squared? X times x. Last times last has to be the last thing. What times what is positive 18? 6 times 3, 9 times 2, 18 times 1. And the negatives, right? Negative 6 times negative 3, negative 9 times negative 2, negative 18 times negative 1. All those negatives would work as well. When you multiply, they turn positive. Which one do you want to try? 9 and 2. Excellent choice. Yeah. Okay. So I'm making this list mostly because, hey, if you don't know how to multiply, this becomes really, really hard. All right. This is me reminding you of all the factors of 18 and all the factors of 36. Okay. Hopefully you figure this out right off the bat. Positive 9 and positive 2 are our winners. And we're going to double check by checking the rainbow. X times 2 is 2x. 9 times x is 9x. And when we combine 9x and 2x gives us 11x. Okay? Raise your hand if you think you forgot this math. Okay? Good. So now we add one more step. These are called easy trinomials. And they're called easy because the A value, the number in front of the x squared, is a 1. Okay. What's different about example 2 here? Why are these different? They what? It's more work. Yes, there's one more step we're going to put in here. This tags on to what we did on Friday. Look for a GCF first. GCF stands for what? Good, greatest common factor. Good. And so for these, you'll notice all of these, there's a number in front of the x squared. There's a number in front and a number in front. And so if we can, we need to see if we can take out a common factor. That is an option sometimes. So when we look at 2x squared plus 18x plus 40, I want to ask myself, since there's a number in front, is there a greatest common factor? What do they have in common? What is each term divisible by? 2. So I want to go ahead and divide each term by 2 so that I can relocate that 2 out in front first. Take out the GCF first. Because when we do that and clean up, what is 2x squared divided by 2? Just x squared. And 18x divided by 2? 9x. And 40 divided by 2? 1. Now, what we have left over here inside the parentheses, that's a trinomial that we can try to double bubble. All right, so now this 2 is hanging out in front, and we're going to try to double bubble this remaining trinomial. You're not always going to be able to factor. We're not always going to be able to double bubble. It could be a prime or not factorable one. It does happen. So let's ask ourselves, first times first has to be the first thing. What times what is x squared? X times x is x squared. And now last times last has to be the last thing. We're not using the 40, we're using the 20 now. Smaller numbers are always better. What times what gives you positive 20? Positive 5 times positive 4, or negative 5 times negative 4. 10 and 2, 20 and 1. Which one do you want to try? 5 and 4. Very good. Positive 5 and positive 4. And I'm just going to double check the rainbow. X times 4 is 4x. 5 times x is 5x. 4 and 5x makes 9x. So I know I did it correctly. So this is our factored form. We call this completely factored. Letter B, negative 3n squared plus 33n minus 54. Is there a greatest common factor? What number are they all divisible by? Oh, come on. 3. How do you know 54 is divisible by 3? Yeah, you add up the digits. 5 plus 4 is 9, and 9 is a number divisible by 3, so you know that 54 is divisible by 3. 33 works the same way. 3 plus 3 is 6. 6 divides by 3 evenly, so does 33. Very interesting. Now, here's the other thing. There is a leading negative. I will never, ever, ever factor with a negative on my leading term. Okay, this is the leading term. It's got the highest power. I will never factor with a negative on my leading term. It's confusing and difficult. So I'm going to factor out that -3 from each term and make my life a lot easier. So our GCF, we're actually going to take out the negative as well. What happens with these -3s? Yeah, it's 1n squared. -3 divided by -3 is a 1. We have 33n divided by -3, which is -11n. Negative divided by negative turns positive. And 54 divided by 3. 3 goes into 5 one time with 2 left over. 3 goes into 24 8 times, 18. And now this is a nice little easy trinomial that I'm going to try to factor further. Try to double bubble. And again, that -3 doesn't disappear. It's just relocated. First times first is the first term. What times what is n squared? N times n. Last times last has to be positive 18. What are my factors of 18? -9 and -2, +9 and +2, very good. -6 and -3, so on and so forth. Which one do you want to use? -9 and -2, very good. -9 and -2. Just going to check my rainbow just to be absolutely sure. N times -2 is -2n. -9 times n is -9n. 9 negatives and 2 negatives gives me the 11 negatives that I'm looking for. You can imagine, if you can't multiply well, then this is very hard. Use your calculators, practice your multiplication tables. Last one here, 4k squared minus 20k minus 96. What is the GCF for? Yeah, so we're going to start by dividing everything through by a 4. Pull that 4 out in front. What's left over? K squared. Then what? Minus 5k. Minus 4 goes into 9 2 times with 1 left over. 4 goes into 16 4 times, 24. All right. Double bubble. First times first has to be the first thing. What times what is k squared? What times what is k squared? K times k. Very good. Last times last has to be the last thing. What times what is negative 24? -8 times +3, or -3 times +8. -12 times 2, or vice versa. -3 times +8, or -8 times +3. -8 times +3. -8 and a +3. Good choice. And double check here. 3k and then -8k. And when I combine those, I'm going to get my -5k. Yeah, -5k. All right, ladies and gentlemen, do you have any questions for me? So we're looking for those bubbles today. And if you go through the process and you're like, none of these factors are going to work, then it is possible that something is not factorable. Okay? That would be called prime, not factorable.